This is the G3 warm-up, and starting with the first problem, I had a little test. It's supposed to be 75th percentile. If 8 out of 32 students had test scores higher than 90, what score would a student need in order to be in the 75th percentile? So first of all, if I had a box and whisker plot, let's pretend there are no outliers, right? And it really doesn't matter where this stuff is, right? The 25% of your data is going to be right here. 25% is here. 25% is here. And 25% is here. The question is, where's the 75th percentile? Well, this is the 0th percentile. All right. And this is the 100th percentile when you got everybody. We never do 100th percentile because there's nobody above that. All right. So 75th percentile should probably be right here. Pretend that's 75th percentile. All right. So where does that start? Well, 8 out of 32 is what percentage? 8 out of 32 is 1/4, or 25%. So that tells me that these are the top 25%. Right? And top 25% scored higher than 90. That means I actually don't need, it's definitely not this, it's definitely not that. So higher than 90 would actually be 91 or more, assuming there's no score like a 90.5, which is pretty darn reasonable. All right. I was actually tempted to pick this answer initially because I didn't read higher than 90. For some reason in my head, when I read that, I read 90 or more. So be careful, read the question carefully. That is the secret to doing well on your TSI or any test for that matter. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at the next problem. The base of the cylinder in the illustration below, and I apologize, I didn't give you an illustration. Alright, so I'll draw one. Alright, and the radius of the cylinder, so from the center to the edge, is 5 centimeters. That's not 2 sentences, that dot period probably shouldn't be there. The height of the cylinder is 14 centimeters. You are expected to remember your formula that volume is base, area of the base, times height. That's area. So what shape is the base? The base is this bottom part right here to the top. They both have the same shape. They have the same formula for the area. It's pi r squared times height. So I'm going to go ahead and put in pi times 5 squared times 14. Really should be centimeters, but I'm not going to. There are no units here. They should have had units. So it's basically pi times 25 times 14. All right? 25 times 14, that's probably pretty big. So let me do a low estimate. I'm going to estimate low. To make my life easier. If that were 10, that would be 250 pi, right? But that's a low estimate. In fact, I know it's lower than my answer. So it can't be 60 pi or 140 pi. I'm going to do a high estimate. Okay, my high estimate is I'm going to take this ugly number and bump it up. 25 times 20 times pi. That would be 500 pi. Does that make sense? And that tells me that this is too high. Now, another way you could have done it, there's a quick trick for multiplying by 25. If I said 25 times 4, what do I get? 100. 25 times 8 is 200. So my next group jump would be 25 times 12 is 300. 25 times 16 would be 400. I'm trying to go between these two, 350 pi. Pretty cool. All right. Last but not least, what is the distance between 2, 3 and 6, 7? So it's talking about 2 points on the coordinate plane. And I'm connecting them with a segment. Pretend I can connect them. And the distance is just the length of this segment. The problem is I don't have enough information to calculate this right now. But if I were to drop a segment straight down and a segment horizontally, I would make this shape, which is a right triangle. Now if I go from here to here, so my x-coordinates, x is 2, x is 6 here, how long is this side? That's 4. Y is 3 to y is 7, the length of that side is 4. This is the distance, which I'm trying to find, right? Well, hopefully with right triangles you remember the Pythagorean Theorem, which is the hypotenuse squared is the sum of the two squares, alright? 16 plus 16. D squared is 32. Now I don't have 32 here. That's good, because that's D squared. I want to know the distance. That will be square root of 32. Voila.